Okay. Hey there. The last one we talked about was Friday 13th series.
Yep.
And we talked about the fact that the main actor, Ryan, left. Now, the female actor was a beautiful redhead named Roby. Was also she was a singer too.
Yes.
And she did a version of One Night in Bangkok, which was her big song. It's became kind of a disco hit over in Europe. Way after disco, but still a big dance song. But then again, great series.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're going next with Poltergeist Legacy, right?
Yeah.
Poltergeist, of course, was a successful series of films. Unfortunately, the main actress, she was very young at the time, and during what should have been a routine operation, it went wrong, and she sadly passed away. But Poltergeist: The Legacy was done years later, and again, this is another Canadian series.
Yeah. Very much in lieu with the last one.
Yeah, it's very much like solving different people, like going after different objects and getting demons, and creatures, and stuff like that. Now, The Legacy is in this one, it's farther taken away from the series than the other ones have.
Yeah.
Now,
Because Poltergeist was about ghosts.
yeah, pretty much that's about ghosts. It was about ghosts haunting this kid specifically.
Yeah.
And her family. But the Poltergeist Legacy is about a group called The Legacy. And it starred Derek DeLint and Helen Shaver. Now, the pilot was a film, and it was actually shown, I think, in Europe, uncut. There's an uncut version of it. We got the uncut version here in Canada, but I don't know if they got it there in the States. I can't say for sure. Usually they don't. I know that even Smallville had a cut version in the States, I think, originally.
Really?
That's what I heard. But again, it was a pretty it was a different show. It had a team of paranormal investigators that kind of solved fought bad guys. And fourth season,
Undertaker. Undertaker was in it. I fought the Undertaker.
Yeah, it was on the USA Network, and the USA Network at that time had Raw, and they wanted to do some crossovers. So they took Shawn Michaels and put him on Pacific Blue, which was a show about I think it's a show about people with bikes, bike cops or something like that. Bike police.
Probably.
Mara Lopez, the guy from anyway.
Okay.
To get back on the Poltergeist train here. Poltergeist was a pretty cool series, and it was brutal. The pilot episode actually kills off a member of the team right away. So we're pretty much given the thing that nobody's safe. And we see characters that started to look like they're going to be good, actually turn out to be bad. We find out there's other chapters of the Legacy group around the world, and
Reminding me of it right now.
other precepts, because the leader of each chapter, Derek DeLint is the leader of the chapter, and his name is Derek, right? His character's name is Derek, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Derek, yeah.
Yeah.
Derek Rain. He has a ring, and that's what the precept wears. That's the leader's precept. And each Legacy chapter has a precept and a ring. However, each Legacy chapter is not as it's not everyone is good. So basically, the series goes through a whole lot of different creatures and stuff like that, and in some ways it's very Friday the 13th-ish in certain aspects. In a way it's very Highlander the series in other aspects, but yeah, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good series overall, and there were some I can't say that I got into it as much as I did some other shows, but when I did watch it, I did kind of like it. I did get annoyed with the kid sometimes, but the kid played an important role. Helen Shaver, who comes into the group of Legacy, has a daughter. Actually, comes in, or she's in the group and she wants to leave or something like that, and she ends up staying. Anyway, it's been a long time since I've seen the show, but the series ended on a really brutal note. One of the main cast members in the Legacy is killed off in the last episode of the series.
Huh.
And it's a big cast member. It was a shocker, and it was cool the way it was done. And I was kind of surprised. It was a ballsy move to take. So, Poltergeist Legacy, it's a good show to look back at and check and see if you want to watch it. If it's on Hulu or Netflix or something, give it a shot and see if you like it. If it's something that you like, maybe something you can buy the box and stuff. Because I know there's at least a couple of them, or at least here in Canada. I'm not sure if the box sets made their way over to the United States yet or not. I know that there was a lot of shows that originally started out just as box sets here, like the Outer Limits series, Beastmaster series, and RoboCop, and a few others that were show TV series that were done here in Canada. So I guess we got the box sets here first, albeit a lot of times they're pretty bare bones box sets, but they're out there. Kind of like how we got the uncut version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre: Next Generation, and it didn't get over it there. Anyway, that's Poltergeist Legacy, and the next series we're going to talk about is based on a movie that was based on a comic book.
Yep.
And that
would be Tales from the Crypt. This one is very weird because Tales from the Crypt was originally a comic, which became a movie.
And who played the Crypt Keeper in the movie? Do you remember?
Not really.
Sir Ralph Richardson.
Oh, okay. Which became... which became a... you check that out. Which became sort of a TV show. None of them are technically... Well, I suppose you could say the TV show is more based off the comics, but it's both. Because they're all very, strikingly different.
Well, it's an anthology series, the one we're talking about right here now. And Tales from the Crypt, I guess we should probably talk about the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
The movie was broken up, and every other anthology series. If you're watching Amicus anthology or something like that, then and I think it probably was Amicus, wasn't it? Tales from the Crypt?
Probably. Yeah, and Vault of Horror.
Vault of Horror, yeah, definitely. Then it was Amicus, yeah. One of the most popular stories from Tales from the Crypt, the original movie, was one about a killer Santa Claus. And it starred Joan Collins, and it was a fairly effective and creepy story, and people remembered it. So when it came time for Tales from the Crypt, the series to come out on HBO, it did three stories, and it was kind of like a movie.
Yeah.
And one of the stories, of course, is they're going to pick the Santa Claus one.
Yeah.
And this one had Larry Drake playing the killer Santa Claus. And Larry Drake, as you all know, is the bad guy from Darkman, Dr. Giggles in the Dr. Giggles movie, and of course the slow, mentally deficient character in Law and Order. So, right away, what HBO had going for it with the Tales from the Crypt series, aside from having Kevin Yeager do the puppet of the Crypt Keeper, because now the Crypt Keeper is actually the way he looks in it, kind of like a more sort of the way he looks in the comic book, or at least more of a comic booky type of representation.
It's a much more grotesque version.
Kevin Yeager did the makeup for the Freddy character, I think, in part 2 and maybe part 3. Now, Kevin Yeager's also, of course, is famous for making the Chucky, the Chucky doll in Child's Play. So right then, we knew we had some pretty good guys working on it. Now, aside from that, a lot of big stars came into Tales from the Crypt. A lot of guys had grown up, guys and girls had grown up reading it and seeing the movie and stuff like that, and had an affinity for it. So we had a lot of big stars acting in the series as well, and directing episodes.
I gotta say though,
So
even though we've got a lot of good things to say about said show, and it's really good. I remember the second episode was, by the way, the Hangman episode, or the electrocution episode.
Oh, dig that cat is real gone.
Yeah. There were some. I have to call this out because we called this out on Freddy's Nightmares. There were some bad
episodes.
There's some bad episodes, but there were, what's even worse is there's some bad in between segments. I remember there was one where he had Whoopi Goldberg on there.
That was fair.
And he started saying different names of the movies she was in.
Yeah.
And
I think this was one that Whoopi Goldberg probably directed, though. So
yeah, and Schwarzenegger, that was kind of awkward.
I didn't mind Schwarzenegger one as much as Whoopi Goldberg one.
Yeah.
But then again, we have to remember that Freddy's Nightmares doesn't get as much of a pass as Tales from the Crypt, and
It
I'll tell
didn't
you
have
what.
good stories.
No, because Freddy's Nightmares ran for 2 seasons.
That's true.
And Tales from the Crypt ran for 7.
And got its own cartoon show.
Well, yeah, actually, why don't we do a horror cartoon series, and we'll talk in that one on Tales from the Crypt cartoon series. But yeah, Tales from the Crypt ran 7 seasons. It tried to get a spin-off with a show called Two Fisted Tales. Two Fisted Tales was a comic book that was done, and it was more an action oriented. Yeah, there's an action oriented comic book.
I don't know how that would work in an anthology setting.
Well, they tried to do it, but what they ended up doing was putting those episodes back into Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
And Tales from the Crypt, however, did kind of run a spin-off, I think, actually.
Did it?
It did.
I know it had
pretty
some
sure.
kind of mediocre movies.
Very, very mediocre movies.
Bordello of Blood.
Oh my
One of
god.
them.
And the other one, but I don't even. There's 3 of them actually. So
Yeah.
There's one I haven't even seen called Rituals.
Oh, yeah. Did it have it had the cartoon spin-off, which was Tales from the Crypt Keeper,
Yeah.
which came from a episode in season 5, I think.
This was season 5. They did that.
It was it was one of the later seasons.
Are you talking about the animated episode?
Yeah.
The very last episode of the series was the animated
Was it?
episode. Yeah. That's
Okay, is that?
season
Oh, then
7.
I guess Tales from the Crypt Keeper ran on after it, didn't it?
Because
Because I think that was the episode that
very different.
ushered in
And we got to remember that Tales from the Crypt Keeper ran
Was-
on ABC,
and was
whereas
crazy
Tales
different.
from the
Yeah.
Crypt ran on HBO.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt Keeper had actually the witch from the Vault, or from the oh god, what's it called again?
From the Haunt of Fear.
The Haunt of Fear, and the Vault Keeper from the
Vault of Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing to remember is that Tales from the Crypt mined from all 3
Oh,
series.
yeah.
EC Comics, originally it was called Vault of Crypt of Terror, I think. But then it became Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt became a popular EC Comics series, and that spawned another series called Haunt of Fear. Haunt of Fear spawned another one called Vault of Horror.
Yeah.
And most of the stories taken are not just taken from Tales from the Crypt, but they're also taken from Haunt of Fear and Vault of Horror.
Yeah, the Check That Cat, He's a Real Gunner, I think that one was called.
Vault of
Is
Horror?
Vault of Horror.
And I
Horror and
think you may even get a couple from their psychodrama, psychological suspense.
Yeah, you
comic
do.
that
You
they
actually get. There's particularly one I remember. I think this is right, about a man who is handcuffed. Like I think he's handcuffed to. It's a criminal who's handcuffed to, I think, a cop or another criminal, and they're going through the desert.
Oh yeah, that was the one of the later seasons.
Yeah, and they have this fight, and he kills him. And because of the dead weight, he eventually, he's got vultures hanging over his head. And I
You
believe
sure it's not one that was one of the Two Fisted Tales ones?
that could have been. I think that was Crime and Suspense, though.
Yeah, but Crime and Suspense would have gone for two
Yeah.
Fisted
Oh,
Tales.
you mean was it from the spin-off thing?
Yeah.
No, I never watched the spin-off.
Yeah, but the spin-offs, the ones were put back into the series as
Oh,
episodes of Tales from
okay.
the Crypt.
All right, it might have been because, well, obviously I didn't watch, so I wouldn't have known. Also, that's a terrible. Well,
Well, they still had the twist and kind of
yeah.
So that's our horror TV retrospective right now. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if we're going to do a third one or we're going to break it into something else right now and then come back and do a retrospective on some of the other horror movie TV show spin-offs, because there are a few others. We could talk in a way about like Night Stalker or Teen Wolf,
Oh, those are.
or
Pushing
even actually, there's one more that we can talk about, and
Sorry.
I can't talk about it too much right now because leave it and to see if you can figure it out. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to go and get my tea because it has cooled down a bit, and just so you know, I wouldn't hurt a fly. I couldn't even hurt a fly.
Oh.
It's time for tea.
Yeah.